2007 saw the release of a new Ubisoft action-adventure game. The trailer showed a man dressed with a white hood surveying an execution from above, before blending in the crowd below. In a matter of a few seconds, he dispatches a couple of guards with a crossbow, and then performs an aerial attack on the final remaining guard, revealing a hidden blade and a missing finger. The man in white then proceeds to lose his pursuers as he joins a group of scholars, also dressed in white. The final shot, an eagle flying, followed by the title reveal, Assassin's Creed. This trailer kept the gaming community intrigued, especially as there was little to go on in terms of gameplay. Just some interesting cinematic shots with intentional glitches mixed throughout. In November of 2007, the game was released. For some, the game had some setbacks, but for others, its sense of mystery carried forward from the trailer through to the revelation that it was not as simple as the player controlling the 12th century assassin, Altair, but in actuality, playing as a man, Desmond, 5 years into the future, in 2012. This was unexpected and captivated the audience with another story set in the modern day, where Desmond relives the memories of Altair through the immerse, a machine that allows access to genetic memories. Slowly, as the game progressed, both the audience and Desmond learn of a secret feud between the Templars and the Assassins, this being another reason why Desmond was kidnapped by Abstergo Industries from his job as a bartender, besides forcing him to relive his family history. I enjoyed this aspect of the game, steadily finding out more about the front that is Abstergo Industries, either through conversations with Lucy, emails, or the story. The emails were quite interesting to see because they showed the inner workings of Abstergo and its effect around the world, with the influence of the Templars to remove free will. In fact, when I was producing this video, I found out that Abstergo is Latin for I cleanse, which is the aim of the Templars. This is actually really fitting as the name of the company, trying to achieve peace through the removal of free will. I also thought that the soundtrack fit the action of the game well, with a mixture of peaceful tracks for blending in the city, and some action music for combat and chases. It created atmosphere for the game. I enjoyed the element of viewpoints to survey areas of the different districts, coupled with the leaps of faith, and believed the side missions to be fun, particularly the flag collecting races, which were not too difficult, and the stealth assassinations. However, I felt annoyed that if some missions were failed, I had to go through dialogue again. This added to the repetitiveness of the game, as there was a simple procedure of side missions, then an assassination, then a cutscene in Masyaf, followed by exiting the immerse and sleeping, before the whole process repeats again. The eavesdropping missions were less exciting, and so were the interrogations, but I did enjoy the optional objective of saving citizens in order to unlock vigilantes, or scholars, to assist Altair. Pickpocketing felt too easy, and I believe it would have been more fun to have a sense of challenge, particularly for the pickpocket missions. Sure, the thugs would fight you if they detected you, but this was only really in free roam. I did collect some flags, but I didn't go out of my way to search for them, perhaps due to little incentive. I only collected it if I heard its distinct sound. Personally, I found the social stealth mechanics to be excellently done, even though it was not flawed. I liked how Altair could be the hidden blade in the crowd, blending through an array of creative methods, whether it was by hiding in a rooftop garden or in a haystack, the haystacks that now form an iconic part of the series. I also enjoyed the navigation of the game and was able to appreciate the free running aspect. Unlike some other games at the time, the player could use the rooftops for their pleasure, encouraged by the game through flag collecting races and other side missions. This added an extra aspect of immersion to the 12th century world. It was also quite fun to mess with the merchants by free running through their market stalls, which was particularly helpful to evade enemies. The free roam was made even better by the cities each having their own diverse appearances and atmosphere, coupled with the music that I spoke of earlier. Horses were a welcome addition to the game, at least for the wide expanse of the kingdom, but were not so useful in other areas. In my first playthrough, I tried to use them in combat, but on the next, I never attempted to do this. It was simply easier to dismount and fight on foot, and only when failing to continue on my path. The skill of Altair comes across in his use of only 3 weapons, with a crossbow only being used by this assassin in the trailer. The weapons all have melee capabilities and come in the form of blades. The sword I found to be my main weapon in my first run through, probably due to its defensive capabilities. On my recent playthrough, I switched from the sword to the throwing knives, which I had not previously realized could be used in a melee battle. I enjoyed how it could dispatch enemies quickly in a manner that felt reminiscent of the dagger of Brutus from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but with the added benefit of also being able to work at a range mid-battle. The throwing knives were also very useful in terms of being able to kill most enemies with a single throw. This could also be used to make the more difficult target assassinations much easier. Fists were only used for interrogations due to the simplicity of pickpocketing thugs, so fists were not used very much throughout the game. And of course, the hidden blade was a highlight of the game, which explains its iconic nature, allowing its user to perform stealth assassinations from above, from behind, and occasionally facing the victim. I really enjoyed the story aspect of the game, both modern day and 12th century. The conversations with the targets offered a chance to develop both their characters and the story, and this was quite interesting to watch, coupled with the glitches in the various cutscenes of the game, which showed a different cinematic view upon interaction. I felt that it was a great idea to earn ranks as the player progressed through the story, as it allows for the player to improve their skill alongside Altair and Desmond, who experiences events as the player sees them, himself also learning as Altair did. Through this powerful parallel, we get a trio of the player who learns through controlling Altair, who improves his equipment as he works his way up the ranks, while his memories are experienced by Desmond, who learns via the Animus. I just think that this is so phenomenal as a concept. This is awesome, besides for the fact that Altair seemingly forgets fundamental skills such as how to tackle, just because he has lost his ranking. The ending was highly exhilarating and left me wanting more. I just had to know what would happen next. The betrayal of Al-Mualim was unexpected, and this led to some interesting dialogue with a fun battle where the Templars fight Altair once more. We get to see the power that the Piece of Eden holds and use Altair's eagle vision to beat it. Altair is then shown the map of the apples and does not destroy the apple as he had planned to. The consequences of this memory are then explored with Lucy defending Desmond's life in the modern day, before we see that he has acquired eagle vision, which reveals the blood of Subject 16 in the Animus room. This leaves opportunities for the future games while deepening the mystery element. What do the messages mean? Are they a warning? If so, for what? This definitely left me wanting more, and left me wanting answers to the many questions arisen from these new clues and symbols. On my second playthrough, I read an email, likely from Subject 16, which shed some light on the blood messages, but there is still an overwhelming sense of mystery set up by this ending. It was absolutely breathtaking. I give Assassin's Creed 8 out of 10 memories.